Sorry if I seem a bit weird. My hay fever's really acting up today, which is weird because I took my tablet, and as far as I know, the tablets I take are the strongest tablets you can get for hay fever, and I don't usually have problems, but it's just I've had to blow my nose so many times today, and I'm not sneezing like constantly, but I've sneezed a couple of times. Anyway, The Acolyte, mixed ratings. Disney Plus original series to watch on Disney Plus. Daphne Keane, Manny Jacinto, the guy from Squid Game, Carrie-Anne Moss. I watched the first 2 episodes because they are the ones that are currently out. I started those like the day after they came out, I think. And I just didn't get around to finishing it until yesterday. I'm aware that in episode 3 they have some sort of revelation that the Force gets some sort of like lesbian tribe pregnant, which, yeah, that is outright retarded, but I haven't got that far, and people have outright lied about Madam Web in the past, and I don't doubt that they would do that about this as well. So I'm going off of what I have seen in the first 2 episodes, and what I have seen in the first 2 episodes, yes, there are problems, but it's nowhere near enough for it to get a 3.4 out of 10 on IMDb. I get that it used to be a 3.7, but still, the lowest this show should have got on release was a 6. The 84, it's not really warranted, but it's closer to what I would give it than the IMDb rating. And I'm aware that the audience rating for it is like a 17, which makes it worse than the holiday special, which I've never seen it, but I have seen, people talking about it. John I think, did a video on it. There's no way in hell this is worse than that. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned Carrie-Anne Moss in this. So, problems I have with it based on the first 2 episodes. 1, I didn't mind Carrie-Anne Moss in this, but it's just her character seems too much like Trinity from The Matrix, which I get that is hard to do and make it not like Trinity, but it's just something I noticed. 2, they have a fat Jedi, which I get that they try to sort of recruit anyone that is Force sensitive, but it's a bit weird. Like, you wouldn't have a fat person in the army, and it just makes sense that you wouldn't have a fat Jedi. What was the third problem? Oh, Manny Jacinto's character he's fucking stupid. So what happens is that May, like, look, right, the whole plot of it is that this character May had a twin sister who supposedly died 16 years ago, but now it turns out she is alive and she's killing Jedi, and May is to blame for it because no one knew that, I think her name is Osha, is still alive. And Osha goes to Manny Jacinto. Manny gives her a poison, and then May goes to Manny pretending to be Osha, and even though it's pretty obvious this isn't Osha, Manny thinks that it is her, and it's just it is stupid. Those are really the only problems I had with the show. I get that, the actors, people keep on talking about the things that the actors have said, but just because the actors have said something stupid doesn't mean that the show is stupid, because it's not these actors' jobs to know everything about the Star Wars universe. These people might not be fans of Star Wars. They might have just read the script for this and thought it was good. Because someone had said that Anakin blew up the Death Star, and Amanda Stenberg here said that it is the gayest Star Wars, but I mean, Natalie Portman said that Thor: Love and Thunder was going to be the gayest MCU film, and it only had like 2 gay scenes. Um, sometimes the actors. I get that with Natalie, it's because there were more planned gay scenes, but they got cut for time and stuff like that. But it's just I wouldn't. If you want to call the actors idiots, that's fine. But if you want to say that them being stupid means the show is stupid, that's not how it works. I'm going to eat one of those again. I think I was done saying what I was saying about just because the actors are stupid doesn't mean the show is stupid. So I'm going to move on. I was really intrigued with the show because I've always wanted something in Star Wars that is a murder mystery, and even though it is no longer really a murder mystery because we, the audience, know who the killer is, and the characters know who the audience is. So it's not really a murder mystery anymore, but still, that's something I've wanted. I get that a few episodes of Clone Wars did that as well, but I wanted something live action. And that is what we got. And, that alone, ignore everything else in the show, that alone is pretty good. That lightsaber fight at the start with Carrie-Anne Moss and Osha, in the trailer, it looked terrible. It looked like the worst lightsaber fight scene to ever exist. But watching the show, for some reason, it was actually very good. It's one of the best. Like, I'm be honest, it is quite possibly the best lightsaber fight scene ever. Although it is quite stupid that Carrie wasn't able to use the Force to prevent that other guy from getting the knife thrown at him, and then also, at the same time, prevent the other knife from hitting her. Especially since the way that it's acting in the film and all that, you could tell she knows that that's what Osha's plan is, to do all that. And it doesn't make sense that she wasn't able to defend herself. And I think the only thing I want to talk about that people gave this as a reason for why the show is bad, but I have a sort of counterpoint to it, if you will. So there was a scene in episodes 1 or 2 where Osha returns to someone, and the other person says that an acolyte doesn't use weapons to kill people, and then that guy, he ignites a lightsaber, and people are saying, the show's so dumb. Why would you have an acolyte say acolytes don't use weapons, and then show the acolyte using a weapon? And someone else pointed this out as well. What if this character, who hasn't been revealed yet, is not an acolyte? Like, it could be, they could be doing what they did with Watchmen, the show, where context isn't given to scenes until much later. And people loved Watchmen. I love Watchmen, the show. Just people aren't giving this a chance because, the trailer was outright terrible. And also the cast keep on talking bullshit. I'll blow my nose again. There's one more thing I want to say about episode 4, which is currently the most recent episode out. There is a character who appears in that who is also in the prequel trilogy. I don't remember the guy. It's like Kiadi Mundi or something like that. He's that guy in the prequels who he's just in the council scenes, and he was like, "Oh, what about the droid attack on the Wookiees?" And really, that's the only thing that he's memorable for. Now, for a very, very dedicated Star Wars fan like Star Wars Theory, he knows who that is. Me, I just know him as the "What about the droid attack on the Wookiees" guy. And people pointed out some of the bullshit with his appearance because it doesn't look like him, and they could have said that it's, just someone else of the different species, or someone related to him or something like that. But no, in the credits, they outright confirm it is him. And that's fine. They change how different characters look all the time. like Yoda in the originals versus the prequels, since he is CGI in the prequels and he's practical in the originals. No, but he only aged 20 years, and his species lives like 1,000 years. So 20 years isn't really that much for him. He shouldn't have aged that much. He shouldn't be looking like just some old man where he was a badass only 20 years ago. But anyway, I think that's all I have to say. Oh no, there was another point to be made about that character. There's a line that he says in the prequels where he said that there hasn't been a Sith in 1,000 years, whereas this takes acolyte takes place 100 years before the prequels. I didn't actually finish the video of what that person was saying, like why. Sorry, someone approached my car. I think I was looking for a cat because they went like. Anyway, I didn't finish the video, so I don't know what their point is. I assume that what they're saying is, if there hasn't been any recorded Sith in 1,000 years, how does the acolyte make sense? And they obviously did their research putting this character in it, so they know that there hasn't been a Sith in 1,000 years, but yet they're making this show take place 100 years before the prequels. And the only thing I really have to say to refute that is let it cook. Maybe something happens where this gets covered up. Like, this could be. The Jedi could view all this as such a monumental fuck up that they order it to be covered up. And that history books and all that explain that there hasn't been a Sith in 1,000 years. But we're just not going to know until it ends. Because I don't think it's right to pick apart something like that. Like all these points that people are making when it's not fully out yet. And I get that you could put up the argument that, if you're not allowed to be negative about it until it's fully completed, why are you allowed to be positive about it? I don't really have a refutation of that. I'm just saying that, we should wait, and then if they don't explain, like, maybe that's not what happens, maybe that they did fuck up, then that's fine. Say that they fucked up. But TLDR, first 2 episodes, no problems. At least nothing to make it as bad as people say it is. Renegade Nell. Mixed ratings. I watched it on Disney Plus original. Created by Sally Wainwright, starring Louisa Harland. I can't say her fucking name. Adrian Lester. Pip Torrens. Craig Parkinson. Problem with this is that I started it way back. I don't actually remember when. And I got maybe halfway through the episode. So I can't really talk about the first half, and there isn't even really anything for me to say other than I like it. Louisa's accent is very good, especially since her Irish accent is quite thick and deep. It's a bit weird going from making Happy Valley to this, but that's just what happens when you're a good writer. Final review: The Good Doctor. Don't look at this show thinking about like the I'm a doctor meme. Like, yes, it's a show about an autistic doctor, and autism is. I feel like because of the memes, people sort of look at this show as that show with the weird guy, and he's weird because he's autistic, and it does seem like a quite realistic take on it. Whereas something like Big Bang Theory and Sheldon, which, speaking of, please don't sort of compare this to Young Sheldon, because like they both started around the same time, both ended around the same time because of the strike. You know, they use it for comedy, if you can really call it that. Hey, look at this guy, he's weird. He reads comic books. Whereas this show is, yeah, I have a medical disorder that should prevent me from doing these things, but I do them anyway with grace and accuracy. And it does raise questions about, you know, should we let autists in as doctors? And just, I mean, my response to it is, if they can prove that they can be successful. But enough about Sean. There's not much I want to say here. It's just going to be nitpicks about certain episodes, basically. First off, I hate Asher. He spent the entire show basically just, if anyone comes in who is religious, he goes, religion. And that's just his entire personality for the most part. Just, he hates everything that he isn't. So he's not religious, he has religion. I don't think he said anything about straight people, but just, it's... I got tired of it. And then his death was terribly done. Like, hate crime like that doesn't really happen in modern America. It's not like he was in fucking Pakistan or something. I guess maybe the only other nitpick I have is there was an episode where they treated a transgender teenager. And Sean, being autistic, was like, you're not a girl. You know, you have XY chromosomes, therefore you're a boy, and there's nothing that you can do to nothing you can do to like change that. And surprisingly, I thought the episode was going to end with him going, oh well, people feel this way, so they are this way. I'm sorry. No, they didn't do that. So it is kind of based because they're not... I don't even know what to say. It's kind of like in that one time in Major Crimes where they had a transgender character and they sort of exposed the problems with it without outright being transphobic. Not that I would mind if they were being transphobic. And I guess the only other thing I have to say, which isn't a nitpick, is I didn't expect them to do a time jump in the last episode because, you know, Glassman's cancer came back and he only had like 3 months left to live by the last episode, and I thought they're not gonna like time jump. But then they did, and they skipped ahead past his funeral. And they're showing the aftermath of everything that happened. You know, Claire losing the ability to perform surgery, Sean being kicked out before performing on Claire, and then finding the I don't even know what you would call it, but just their organization, which that organization itself, it kind of feels like they're gonna be those types of organizations where they're like, oh, you need a quota. You didn't have this many autists, this many, I don't know, ADHD people, this many OCD people, stuff like that. Just neurodiverse people. But it's just, the problem with that is that there's not going to be that many people with those conditions that are going to want to become doctors. You know, they're going to want other jobs. So it's fine if they were to just, if someone gets rejected just on the basis of neurodiversity, which I don't like that term, but I'm just going to go with it. And they could report it, I applied for this hospital, they rejected me because I have autism. And the organization helps saying, like, look, just let him prove himself, and if the hospital still says no, maybe take him to court and stuff like that, and then just basically give these people a chance. Yeah. The only things I've left to say is just season 4. Nah. I got its hospital show, but Corona bullshit and then BLM, fuck off.